Go. Hi, I'm Christy Strauch. I'm one of the co-founders of Mystics for Hire, a website where intuitives and healers, psychics, tarot card readers, and other practitioners can list themselves so that people can find you and employ your services. And our goal with Mystics for Hire, even though sometimes it sounds goofy, but it's really true, that we want to spread more love and healing in the world. I'm getting to talk to Kim Wilkinson today, who is the founder of Empowered Life. Hi, Kim. Thanks for doing this. Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So you have a list of ways you describe yourself. Can you start with that?
I do. I have so many different things I do. So long story short, I'm a yoga meditation teacher. I'm a Reiki master. I do theta healing. I'm a trauma grief recovery coach, spiritual empowerment coach, and intuitive.
Wow. Yeah, that's a list. I can see the relationship between them all for sure. So how did you first realize that you had healing gifts like this?
When I first realized that I had any intuition at all was when I first started practicing Reiki about 12 years ago. And that's when I realized I would just have this knowing. And then things really evolved. I went through a period of my own trauma. In 2019, my youngest son, Tristan, died of overdose. And that put me deep into, and I'll tell you, intuitively, I knew it was going to happen. You know, you pray it doesn't, but I say that was my greatest tragedy, but my greatest gift, because it really brought me to this profound healing and into my authentic self and into what I believe is my purpose, which is doing the work that I do today. So when I dove into healing the loss of him, I realized I had all this other stuff to heal. And when I did that, and I really feel like I've healed so much, if not everything, it really opened up, the psychic abilities and bringing in channeling, and, everything just keeps growing from there. And it's been quite a journey.
So healing increased your intuition, your own healing opened up your intuition.
Yeah, I really believe my experience that, and I had a spiritual practice before before I even knew he was struggling with a lot of mental health and addictions. And I think spirit put me on that path because I didn't always do that work. I worked in corporate world. I never thought I'd be a yoga teacher. And, but, like spirit put me on that path to prepare me. And, so the spiritual practice helped me to really kind of heal the trauma and the grief. And then again, the trauma and the grief, like lifting all of that off, opened up my spiritual connection even more. So the two together are so powerful. And that's why, in the work that I do a lot of different programs and coaching, and I really combine everything into one all-encompassing program, but then tailor it to each individual, because combining them together is just what really creates this transformation and brings us into living our best life. And I can tell you, I'm in the best place I've ever been, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Wow,
and I have so much gratitude for the journey now, and to help others through that too is just it's a beautiful gift. Beautiful gift.
That's amazing, because it hasn't been that long since your son passed. 2019 was a eye blink ago. That's a real testament to the work you've done.
Yeah, and then 2 years of COVID right after.
Right. Oh God.
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. And there's something really interesting about taking all the different modalities and using them together. How did you know how to do that?
Well, I say it a lot the last few years, is everything has been so divinely guided for me. I sit down in meditation and boom, here's the idea for this workshop or that workshop. But when I think back, my whole life has been so divinely guided. It really has been. I just didn't see it at the time. And now I just totally lost your question. Remind me of what it was.
Oh, the question of how did you know that you were going
together?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that just came divinely guided from spirit. And it's funny because I'm a course junkie. I teach a lot, but I take a lot too.
Yeah.
And so many different healing modalities I've taken, there's this common message of don't combine this with anything else. Don't combine this with anything else. And I don't know if that's common, if a lot of other healers have heard that, but I just thought, well, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I remember, when I was first kind of getting into all the healing modalities that I work with, I remember one teacher saying, maybe pick one thing and just get really good at it. And then I thought, how do I pick? I love them all.
Yeah.
And then I had another teacher say to me, well, a carpenter doesn't just have a hammer. They have a saw and a screwdriver and a tape measure and a level. And I thought, yeah, you got to have this toolbox, right? So that's when I kind of thought, you know what, I'm just going to take the authentic approach and do what feels right for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started, like I said, combining. And then, especially when it's one-on-one, I just kind of tailor things to where the client's at, to what they need more or less of.
Yeah. Who do you like to work with?
Everybody. I've really worked with all ages. I've worked with, from 18 to, I think the oldest client I've worked with was in the late 60s. I have worked mostly with women, but I have worked with a lot of men. I really enjoy working with people who have really struggled. I've worked with a lot of people who have had trauma and addictions. I come from a long line of first responders, so I'm very familiar with that world as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so great to be able to support someone who is just in such a deep, dark place, and to bring them to a place of where, I've seen some incredible transformations with some of the people I've had the pleasure of working with. And it's just so inspiring.
So I bet there's a thing about them, though, that they're open-minded.
Yeah.
Or willing.
Yeah. You can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. Right. And so much of my lessons I learned from my son and in his struggles. Right. And with my family, I say my family has been my greatest teachers, my parents and my husband. And but I think what COVID really did is I think it's a blessing, because I think it really forced a lot of people to go, yeah, you know what? I'm not okay. This isn't, I don't want to settle for this being happy or this being enjoying life. And you know what? Maybe I do have some stuff, and we all do, right? And that's the interesting thing I find with a lot of clients that come to me. They'll come for one specific thing to heal, and then quickly will realize they have all this other stuff. Right. And it's just the way we've been conditioned as a society to, we think of grief as this and trauma as this. And we're taught of what we're actually taught, avoid and distract. We're taught suppress. Right. And then here we are all these years later, this emotional volcano inside of us that, can be dormant. But when something comes along, it's like boom. Right. And then we're told we have anxiety and we have depression, and here's this medication, and, it's left at that. And I'm not against medication, but we should be digging deeper. Why is there anxiety? Why is there depression? Why are, there these symptoms? Let's not treat the symptom. Let's get to the root and treat that.
Yes.
And that's what I'm all about.
I have wondered about aging, like when I watched my parents age and, into their 70s and 80s and even a little bit into their 90s with a ton of unhealed trauma. And I just wonder, it's sort of a giant epidemic in older people. Have you noticed that at all?
Absolutely. And it's generational, right? We continue to see it. And I really do believe that, most, if not all, of our physical ailments and disease stem from a root to emotion or unresolved emotion, right? Yeah. I've worked with people who, I have a guy who is regrowing dead heart tissue after a heart attack. He's in his 30s. I have a couple others who have come off diabetic medication and have been told you don't even need to come to the diabetic clinic anymore. Wow. It's incredible. Or just, I've had people just lose weight just by dumping the emotional baggage. Emotional baggage is literal. I was a personal trainer for years too before getting into this. And the reason I stopped is I thought, people are doing all the right things. They're eating right, they're exercising right, but they're not taking care of their emotional health, right? You have to have that holistic approach, all areas, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual is the key to really having health.
Yeah, that's a good point. So what do clients experience when they work with you?
I think first of all, they will feel safe.
Mm,
You know, I try to create an environment. I am very non-judgmental. That's part of what I, learned to be very accepting and compassionate, non-judgmental, and support people through, digging down. But I don't want to say that I don't make it soft and gentle, because I mean, you got to go to the truth, and the truth is painful,
yeah,
right? But
that's
the path through the pain is the only way to freedom.
yeah.
So I'm very clear in that, and I'm I let them know it's going to be emotional, but it will be worth it. And then I always try to give as many extra little resources as I can to support them. So I have pre-recorded, yoga and breathwork videos that I give them to help,
Mhm.
move through that. But I just try to bring in as many resources as I can for them to move through it, to pull everything to the surface and find that freedom.
So you work with groups and individuals, or people can do groups and individual work?
Yes, yeah, I do both in person and online, mostly online,
Right.
with COVID, and I do some retreats as well.
How do you keep the channel open?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. It's you got to keep doing the work, and this is what I tell all my clients, or anybody who follows. You got to do the work, and it's a lifelong process, right? Healing does not have a destination, because there's always things happening,
True.
right? It's just a lifelong practice. So you have to keep doing the work. And it took me a long time to figure that out. I would ride the roller coaster, right? Where I would, meditate every day, and keep myself balanced, in all those areas. And, then life gets good, and you think, okay, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, and I'll do it tomorrow. And then all of a sudden 5 days go by and a week's gone by. And then all of a sudden tension is happening, and, extra bills are coming in, and you're going, what is happening? Right. Oh yeah, I stopped doing the work. You have to do the work. Right. And there are the odd days where I will still miss my morning meditation. And maybe I do it later. But when I made the commitment to stay dedicated to my spiritual practice, which is just a simple gratitude, prayer, meditation,
Mhm.
maybe some journaling, pulling some cards, changed my life. Just the consistency, right? Otherwise, you fall back into those old ways. I think the bottom line is we're all just so conditioned, and not in a good or healthy way. And doing the work is undoing everything that we've learned, getting rid of those old beliefs and behaviors, and recreating new ones. So rewiring ourselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's taken us this many years to get this way. We're not going to change that overnight. We're not going to change it in a weekend workshop. You
Right.
have to keep doing the work, and we will fall back, and that's okay, right?
Yeah. It's human.
Yeah. And I think we need to do that sometimes, because it really lets us realize how powerful doing the work is. Because when
Yeah.
you don't do it, you feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. That is a really good point. So thank you, Kim Wilkinson. So you have a website, Kim Wilkinson.
It's empoweredlifenow.net.
Okay. Yes.
And I have a Facebook page, Empowered Life with Kim Wilkinson. And I also have a group where I do free weekly channeling and meditations. And we have a lot of fun in there. And it's called Connecting with Spirit for Healing and Guidance.
And is that on Facebook, or would they
It
go to?
is. Yeah, it's on Facebook. Anybody can join. There's also a little pop-up on my website that will direct you there to join. But every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, I come on, and I don't always know what's going to happen, because I just allow Spirit to completely guide it. Sometimes I pull cards, sometimes it's channeling, sometimes it's a meditation, but it's always so much fun. I look forward to it every Wednesday, and just welcoming anybody who wants to join.
Oh, that sounds like a blast, and
It
also
is.
scary. Maybe especially for you. That's going to show
Well,
up.
yeah, I tell you, that was guided. Spirit guided me to do that. And when it first kind of came up in my meditation, I said, heck no, I am not doing that. It's way out of my comfort zone. But I'm always telling my clients, you need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to do it. And so January I started, and I've been going ever since, every Wednesday, and it's been great.
That's good. And
Yeah.
you can find Kim also on mysticsforhire.com. You can
Yeah.
find her and communicate with you directly there too. Thank you so much. This has been lovely and
Thank you so much.
informative.
Great. Good. Yeah. And happy to connect with anybody. So reach out, send me a friend request, and let's connect.
Yes.